Think about the last time you used a dime. Maybe you dropped one into a vending machine, maybe you found one lying on the ground and didn't even bother to pick it up, or maybe it's just sitting quietly in a jar of loose change at home. Most people overlook the dime because it's small, lightweight, and feels so common. But hidden among the millions of these tiny coins, there are rare examples that could change someone's life forever. And one of the most fascinating cases is the 1975 US 1 dime coin. While nearly all of them are only worth 10 cents, a handful have stunned collectors by selling for extraordinary amounts, sometimes between $56,000 and $136,000. Yes, a coin that most of us wouldn't notice if it fell on the floor can actually be worth as much as a brand new luxury car, or even more than a year's salary for many Americans. That's the kind of story that makes people pay attention to their change. To understand why the 1975 dime holds such power in the coin collecting world, let's go back to the context of the time. The U.S. Mint had been producing Roosevelt dimes since 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt. His image had become a familiar part of everyday life on this small coin, and by the 1970s, it was so common that most people didn't think twice about it. But in numismatics, the study and collecting of coins, it's never just about the coin's face value. It's about rarity, condition, and sometimes the mistakes that slip through the minting process. The 1975 dime became famous because of its connection to one of the rarest modern U.S. coins ever discovered, the 1975 No-S Roosevelt Dime. Proof coins are specially struck with polished dies and planchets, creating a sharp, mirror-like finish. They are made not for circulation but for collectors. In 1975, proof dimes were struck at the San Francisco Mint and, like all proof coins from that mint, were supposed to carry the S mint mark. However, a small number of these dimes were struck without the S, creating one of the most sought-after modern error coins in existence. When word got out that such a coin existed, collectors couldn't believe it. How could a mint mark simply be left off of a proof coin, something meant to showcase the perfection of minting? Yet it happened. And because proof coins are made in limited numbers, the error was caught quickly and corrected, leaving only a handful of these No-S dimes in existence. Today, they stand as some of the most valuable modern coins ever produced. Now here's where the story becomes even more thrilling for collectors and casual treasure hunters alike. While the ordinary 1975 dime is worth 10 cents, a rare one, especially one connected to this no-mint mark mystery, can be worth anywhere from $56,000 to $136,000 at auction. Think about that. A coin you could have overlooked in your pocket change has the potential to pay off debts, fund a dream vacation, or even set you on the path to financial freedom. That kind of value is what keeps the coin collecting world buzzing with excitement. What makes this so fascinating is how easy it is to dismiss the dime. Most people prefer to focus on larger coins like silver dollars or quarters when they think of collectibles, but the dime has quietly produced some of the most legendary rarities of modern times. And the 1975 dime sits right at the center of that story. Even if you don't happen to stumble across one of the incredibly rare proof versions, high-grade examples of the 1975 dime can still be worth significant amounts. Collectors prize coins that have survived in pristine condition. No scratches, no wear, no discoloration. Graded by services like PCGS or NGC as mint state 67, 68, or higher. When such a coin goes up for sale, the bidding can skyrocket because advanced collectors know how rare it is to find one that has remained untouched for nearly 50 years. Picture this: you're flipping through a collection of coins your parents or grandparents tucked away in a box, not thinking much of it when you notice a shiny 1975 dime. At first, you shrug. It's just 10 cents. But after looking closer, maybe checking for details, for mint marks, for condition, you realize you could be holding a piece worth as much as $136,000. That's the kind of moment people dream about. And the truth is, it's not impossible. Coins like these have turned up before, and they will again. The excitement isn't just about money, though that certainly makes it more engaging. Coins like the 1975 dime are also pieces of American history. They tell us about the minting practices of the era, the human errors that slipped through even in a system designed for perfection, and the way collectors value rarity above almost anything else. Each coin is a tiny time capsule, carrying the marks of the year it was made, and sometimes the quirks of the machines or people that struck it. That's what makes the No-S dime from 1975 such a treasure. It represents not just monetary value, but also a unique story in the history of American coinage. Auction houses and coin shows have highlighted just how incredible the demand for these dimes can be. When one surfaces, it becomes headline news in the numismatic community. Collectors line up to bid, knowing they may never see another one in their lifetime. And when the hammer falls at a figure like $56,000 or $136,000, it reinforces the idea that every coin in circulation deserves a closer look. For the everyday person, this is both inspiring and practical. Inspiring because it shows that hidden treasures still exist in the most ordinary places. Practical because it means that taking a few minutes to look through your change could have real rewards. Imagine all the dimes that pass through your hands in a year, hundreds, maybe even thousands. What if one of them isn't just another dime, but one of the rarest coins in American history? That possibility is what drives coin roll hunters and collectors. They go through rolls of dimes from banks, examine coin jars, and study inherited collections, all with the hope of discovering that one extraordinary piece. Most of the time, they come up empty, but every once in a while, lightning strikes, and when it does, it changes everything. The 1975 dime, especially the elusive No-S proof variety, proves that treasures are still out there. It proves that small mistakes at the mint can lead to massive rewards decades later. And it proves that even the smallest coin in your pocket can hold the potential to be something truly life-changing. So the next time you see a dime, particularly one from 1975, don't just toss it aside. Hold it up to the light. Look for details. Check for mint marks. Because if you're lucky, you might just be holding on to one of the most valuable small coins in modern U.S. history, worth anywhere between $56,000 and $136,000. And wouldn't it be incredible if that life-changing treasure was sitting quietly in your pocket all along? The 1985 United States one-dime coin might look like just another ordinary piece of pocket change. To most people, it's a small silver-colored coin worth 10 cents, often forgotten at the bottom of a purse, tucked into a coin jar, or even passed over because of its low face value. But here's where things get exciting. While the vast majority of 1985 dimes are worth just 10 cents, a tiny fraction of them carry secrets, errors, anomalies, and rare conditions that transform them from ordinary change into treasures worth far more than anyone might expect. And when I say far more, I'm not talking about a few dollars. Some of these rare 1985 Roosevelt dimes have sold for absolutely staggering amounts, with prices ranging from $47,000 all the way to $127,000. That's right, a dime worth a family's entire year of income or more, sitting unnoticed in circulation until someone with a sharp eye spots it.to understand why a dime from 1985 can reach those heights. We have to go back to what makes this coin special in the first place. The Roosevelt dime, introduced in 1946, was meant to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing. His portrait was placed on the obverse side, a design by John R. Sinek, and it has remained virtually unchanged ever since. The reverse features a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, representing liberty, peace, and strength. By 1985, the dime was no longer made of silver as earlier versions had been before 1965. Instead, it was struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition, with a pure copper core and layers of nickel on each side, giving it that silver-like appearance. Hundreds of millions of these dimes were minted in 1985 at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. With such a massive production, you'd expect them all to be common, and for the most part, they are. But with mass production comes inevitable mistakes, and those mistakes are what turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. One of the most famous errors found in 1985 Roosevelt dimes is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank planchet, the piece of metal intended to be struck into a coin, is misaligned during minting. Instead of the design being perfectly centered, part of it is missing, with a crescent-shaped blank area where the strike didn't reach. An off-center dime where Roosevelt's face is clearly visible but a significant portion of the design is missing can easily bring thousands. But in pristine condition with a dramatic off-center strike, collectors have been known to pay huge amounts. Imagine a dime struck 50% off-center, perfectly preserved. It could fetch tens of thousands, climbing toward that high-end value of $127. 000. Another error that excites collectors is the double die. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin has been engraved improperly, causing parts of the design to appear doubled. On a 1985 dime, doubled lettering on the word Liberty or on Roosevelt's profile could immediately set it apart from the rest. These kinds of coins don't just attract attention, they ignite bidding wars at auctions. Because they're not supposed to exist, collectors scramble to get them, driving prices into the tens of thousands. But one of the most dramatic and valuable errors for the 1985 dime involves wrong planchet strikes. This means the coin was struck on a blank meant for a different denomination altogether. For example, a dime design pressed onto a penny's copper planchet or a foreign coin planchet creates a one-of-a-kind collectible. Since minting is a precise process, mistakes like this are extremely rare, but they do happen. When they do, they can propel a coin's value into the range of $47,000 to $127,000 depending on condition, rarity, and demand. These are the kinds of coins that collectors dream of stumbling across in circulation or coin rolls. Missing clad layer errors also rank high on the list of collectible varieties. Since modern dimes are made with a copper core sandwiched between nickel layers, sometimes one of those outer layers is missing. The result is a coin with a distinctive coppery appearance on one side, making it stand out immediately. A 1985 dime missing its clad layer in mint condition could easily command tens of thousands at auction, making it one of those oddities that proves mistakes can turn into fortunes. Condition is everything when it comes to the ultimate value of these coins. Numismatists use grading services like PCGS and NGC to assess a coin's condition, from heavily worn circulated examples to flawless mint-state coins. A common 1985 dime in circulation might not be worth more than face value, but a rare error in mint state, perhaps graded MS67 or higher, is where the magic happens. Those are the coins that don't just sell for a few thousand but push into that jaw-dropping range of $47,000 to $127,000. Auction houses have seen bidding wars erupt over these kinds of coins. A rare 1985 dime error crossing the block has the power to light up the room, with collectors vying for the chance to own a piece of numismatic history. Stories abound of people cashing in massively because they had the foresight to check their pocket change. It's not just about owning a coin. It's about owning a rare mistake that tells the story of human error in the minting process, preserved forever in metal. For many collectors, part of the thrill is the hunt. They buy rolls of coins from banks, searching through them one by one in hopes of finding a rare treasure. And while it may seem far-fetched, it's happened more often than you'd think. Someone finds what appears to be a slightly odd dime, takes a closer look, and realizes it's a minting error worth more than a luxury car. That possibility keeps the community alive and passionate, because any ordinary dime could be hiding something extraordinary. The design itself also contributes to the appeal. Roosevelt's profile has become an enduring part of American coinage, and the fact that such a widely recognized design can exist with rare variations makes it all the more exciting. Collectors see these coins as both pieces of history and works of art. When a mistake happens, it adds a layer of uniqueness, almost like a painter accidentally leaving a brushstroke in the wrong place, but instead of ruining the work, it makes it priceless. Now think about this. A coin you might overlook in daily life could be worth as much as $127,000. That's the magic of numismatics. It's not about the face value, but about the story behind the coin. The 1985 Roosevelt dime is a perfect example. To most people, it's just 10 cents. But to a collector who understands its errors and rarity, it's a piece of treasure. And because millions of these coins were minted, the possibility still exists that some are out there waiting to be found. Collectors know that the key to spotting value is paying attention to the details. Look closely at the date, the mint mark, the edges, and the surface. Check for doubling, off-center strikes, missing layers, or unusual weight that could indicate a wrong planchet. Even the smallest irregularity can make a huge difference. That's why every dime you come across has the potential to be more than it seems. So the next time you see a dime from 1985, don't dismiss it. Take a moment to study it carefully. Who knows? You might be holding on to a coin that could change your life. While the majority are just worth their 10-cent face value, a select few have proven time and again to be worth between $47,000 and $127,000. That's not just spare change, that's a once-in-a-lifetime find. The 1985 one-dime coin is more than just a small piece of currency. It's a reminder that history, art, and human error can combine to create something truly extraordinary. For collectors, it's a coin that captures the thrill of the hunt and the possibility of uncovering hidden treasure. And for the lucky few who find them, it's proof that sometimes the most valuable things can come in the smallest packages. When you think about the coins that slip through your hands every single day, most people barely give them a second glance. A dime is a dime, right? It's worth 10 cents, it's small, and it usually just ends up in a jar on your dresser or in the cup holder of your car. But what if I told you that hidden among those tiny silver-colored coins could be one dime worth more than the car itself, more than the dresser, and maybe even more than the house it sits in? That's not an exaggeration, because the 1990 US one-dime coin has become one of those shocking treasures of modern American coinage. While most of them are only worth their face value, certain rare versions, especially those struck with errors or in top condition, have gone on to sell for jaw-dropping amounts, sometimes between $45,000 and $122,000. Just imagine holding what seems like a simple dime and realizing it could be worth as much as a luxury car or even a down payment on a home. That's the kind of story that makes coin collecting so thrilling and why the 1990 dime has earned a special place in the spotlight. To understand why the 1990 dime can be so valuable, let's go back to what makes it special. The coin is part of the Roosevelt Dime series, a design that has been in use since 1946 to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt, who guided the country through the Great Depression and most of World War II, was also a champion of public health and played a key role in establishing the March of Dimes to fight polio. His portrait was chosen to appear on the dime as a tribute to his legacy. The design by John R. Sinek has remained largely unchanged for decades, with Roosevelt's left-facing profile on the obverse and a torch flanked by olive and oak branches on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. By 1990, the Roosevelt dime was already a familiar part of American life. Millions of them were minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and to the casual observer, there wasn't much difference between one dime and the next. But for coin collectors, subtle details, unusual errors, and the condition of the coin are everything. And it's those details that have turned a handful of 1990 dimes into modern-day treasures. One of the biggest factors in determining the dime's value is whether it carries a rare minting error. Errors occur during the production process at the U.S. Mint, and while they're usually caught, every once in a while one slips through. These errors can include off-center strikes, missing elements, or even being struck on the wrong type of planchet entirely. The most famous example involving Roosevelt dimes are those mistakenly struck without a mint mark, which has happened in certain years. When a 1990 dime shows such unusual characteristics, collectors take notice immediately. The rarity of those pieces means they stand out dramatically from the millions of ordinary dimes in circulation, and that's when the price tag soars from 10 cents to tens of thousands of dollars. Condition is another key. Most coins that go into circulation pick up scratches, nicks, and wear as they pass from hand to hand. But some dimes are preserved in pristine condition, either because they were struck specifically for collectors or because someone tucked them away before they ever had the chance to be handled. These coins, graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC as mint state 67, 68, or even higher, are extremely difficult to find. When a 1990 dime appears at auction in such flawless condition, sharp details, brilliant luster, and no visible flaws, the bidding can become fierce. That's when the prices start reaching the incredible ranges of $45,000 to $122,000. Especially if the coin combines high grade with a minting anomaly. What's fascinating about this is how accessible the opportunity really is. The 1990 dime isn't an ancient coin or a limited mintage rarity that only a handful of people ever had the chance to see. Millions of them were produced and released into circulation. That means the possibility of finding one of these rare gems isn't locked away in some exclusive collection. It could be sitting in a jar of coins on your kitchen counter, tucked into a roll of dimes from the bank, or hidden away in a collection you inherited from a relative. That's part of the excitement and why collectors are constantly scanning through even the most ordinary-looking coins, hoping to spot that one telltale difference. Imagine the surprise of someone who drops a handful of change on a counter, only to learn later that one of those coins could pay off a car loan, fund a vacation, or even cover a child's college tuition. That's not a fantasy. It's the real story of coins like the 1990 dime, and it's why coin hunting has become such an addictive and rewarding pursuit for so many people. Auction houses have played a big role in cementing the 1990 dime's reputation. Stories circulate of collectors walking away with life-changing sums after their rare dime crossed the auction block. When bidders know they're looking at a unique or nearly flawless coin, they're willing to go all in. Those auction moments become part of numismatic history, raising awareness of just how valuable some of these coins can be and fueling the dream for countless others to find one of their own. It's also worth noting that coins like the 1990 dime are a reminder of how the smallest details can make the biggest difference. Two coins minted in the same year, looking nearly identical at first glance, can have wildly different values depending on their characteristics. One is worth 10 cents, the other could be worth as much as $122,000. That's an incredible disparity, and it's why careful examination is so important for collectors. Every scratch, every mark, every oddity in the strike tells a story, and sometimes that story is worth a fortune. Even beyond the financial value, coins like this serve as little time capsules. The 1990 dime isn't just money. It's a piece of history. It connects us to a particular moment in American life, a reminder of Franklin Roosevelt's enduring legacy, and a testament to the craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint. Holding one in your hand, especially a rare variety, is like holding a tiny piece of the past that survived against all odds. That's part of what makes coin collecting so meaningful. It's not just about profit. It's about preserving history, connecting with stories, and uncovering treasures hidden in plain sight. So, what does this mean for you? It means the next time you come across a dime, especially one from 1990, don't just toss it aside or let it gather dust. Take a closer look. Examine the edge, the mint mark, the strike, and the overall condition. You never know what you might discover. It could be one of those rare examples that transforms a 10-cent coin into a prize worth anywhere from $45,000 to $122,000. And the best part? The chance of discovery is open to anyone. That's what keeps the thrill alive for collectors and treasure hunters. Because every coin has a story, and every handful of change carries the possibility of a life-changing surprise. The 1990 dime is proof of that. It reminds us that extraordinary value can hide in the most ordinary of places, waiting for the right person with the right eye to recognize it.